What is up, Gov Seekers? Rise and shine, you guys. Rise and shine. It's 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast, 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast. And we've got a couple of really delicious, hot, fresh Gov Seeks for you guys. And of course, there's going to be an amazing bonus segment over at patreon.com/government secrets. And there is over 80 bonus segments if you unlock and you support what we do, because we don't get any ads, because not a lot of companies want to buy ads with us, and we're both very censored. So you are only hope. It ain't night. Yeah, good morning. It's night for me. I'm in Thailand. It is nighttime here. So I think we should just get into it. Let's Gov Seek it up, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Government Secrets, episode 193, with the two most censored comedians in America, Graham Elwood and Lee Camp.
Wow, I feel like we got an even better intro than normal. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I am good.
Excellent. I think we got two killer stories for today, and one of them, well, in certain ways, both of them, but one of them very topical with the ongoing attacks on Venezuela. So I thought before we get into the 2002 U.S. created Coup'ing of Venezuela, we could just chat for a minute about the current efforts on Venezuela. Hey. And I feel like the kind of the most suppressed, covered up part of this is the deeper reasoning. Yes, it's the oil, and but even beyond just the oil, it's the fact that the U.S. basically needs a replacement for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the key to the petrodollar deal. They didn't re-sign it. That doesn't mean they've completely abandoned it. Like, most oil is still sold in dollars, but Saudi Arabia seems to be slowly moving away from dollar hegemony. And
yeah, and I'm sure they're, if they haven't already, they've been in talks with the BRICS countries, and everybody's sort of seeing the writing on the wall that America is no longer America anymore. And it's astounding to me to watch this, because again, I spend a fair amount of time on Twitter, and there's a lot of, because that's where the Bitcoiners, they only hang out there for whatever reason. I don't know why, but there's a lot.
Is that true? Well, you know what it is? That's the only platform god who's been acted like he's all in on crypto, right? Musk.
Right. Musk. And so there's just a lot of conservatives or whatever. And, I was mildly impressed when they were calling Trump out for his, covering up the Epstein thing over the summer. I was like, oh, wow, you guys are actually kind of staying true to your word. But there's been this big rollout since Trump gave that speech a couple nights ago of, it's the same crazy crap that Biden was doing in the summer leading up to the election, of just crazy-eyed, cult-looking, the economy's doing great, Trump fixed it, everything's awesome. And it's like, what are you talking about? It was like, remember the summer when Biden kept trying to do that in the summer of 24? He kept going, oh, economy's great, thank God Biden's in office. And you're like, no. And
it's like 60% of people can't afford rent, but yeah, economy is killer.
Yeah. And Trump has fixed it in 10 months, 11 months or whatever. He's been in power, like almost a year, 12, 11 months. He's been in actual power. And they're just like,
and we're economically, we're in such a hilarious AI bubble. It's like so funny. It's like the biggest, the six of the biggest companies in the world all hinge on AI somehow finding just trillions of dollars in the next couple of years. Like The only one that's actually making a thing that makes money is Nvidia, but even Nvidia is paying the other companies to buy their chips. So it's like
it seems like everything's. I feel like the economy and the stock market and everything is just kind of inflated. They're like propping it up, and the cutting of the interest rates that the Federal Reserve did like a week ago, I think that's signaling that they know that things are getting ready to collapse, and they're just like, well, let's get ready to start printing, $5 to $10 trillion just to keep this bloated carcass afloat. And
if history serves, that's what they'll do. Yeah,
that's what they'll do. And if history serves too, as a collapsing empires always try to do one last crazy war for some resource or some piece of land, and Venezuela is it, especially if Saudi Arabia is kind of quietly going, yeah, we're about to join BRICS any day now.
I like your peace-loving naivete that it's just going to be one last crazy war. I think it's going to be roughly Baker's dozen.
I mean, nothing would get the psychos in the war machine wetter than hey, let's invade Latin America. Let's just, yes. Like they're kind of.
And if you look, I wrote a Substack column about this. If you look at Strump, I don't know what that means, but I feel like it's a better name. If you look at Strump's,
I think we should start calling him that from this moment forward, President Strump,
and just let everybody try and figure out why we're doing it.
Yeah.
If you look at the National Security Strategy Report, which is more than just like actual thoughts put into it. It's not just him tweeting at 3 a.m. because he's got took the wrong pill or whatever. Shit. Shit. I took the hard penis pill instead of the sleeping pill, and now I gotta sit up all night tweeting.
Sprinkling Adderall over his Wendy's hamburger and tweeting.
Oh my God. You never had the Adderall Baconator? Oh.
The Adderall Baconator.
It's fucking incredible. It is. Because you can focus on the Baconator so thoroughly.
Just more fries. More fries.
It really is like you're filleting a Baconator. It is best thing in the world.
Filleting a Baconator. Oh, and it's American-made Adderall. That's the thing I like about it.
And how they serve it to you, they're like, do you want cheese? Do you want beef? Do you want bacon? Do you want lettuce, tomato? Do you want and you just go Adderall, and that's
Adderall
on there, Adderall,
and like a guy like at a nice restaurant with one of those pepper grinders comes up with an Adderall thing and just does it over.
Oh my God, I would love if it were in a nice pepper grinder. Just and he hold, how they lay it on their forearm with a little bit of Adderall,
and he's got like a nice towel that he lays it across on his forearm, and he does the Adderall.
And he says, "Would you like a touch of Adderall?" And then you say, "No, Adderall. Give it all to Adderall to me." And then he just unscrews the top and dumps the whole thing out on it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what President Strump does at 3 a.m.
That's Trump's evening right there. So that tangent aside, if you look at the National Security Strategy Report, it amazingly basically leaves out China, not just leaves out China, but then Hegseth gave a speech where he said we're gonna respect China's right to build up their military, etc. Now, there's two reasons for this. One is that China just royally booted their ass when Trump tried his tariff war. I mean, we are now with this China deal, we're back to where we were a year ago before Trump got into office. So he achieved absolutely nothing. And the reason is because China's too powerful now, too powerful economically, too powerful in other ways. And so they just got completely booted in the balls. But the second reason is because they're basically going to ignore China for a while. I don't know how long in their mind it is, but while they develop the ability to actually refine rare earth metals, because that is the ace card for China, and get a backup or a secondary plan to Saudi Arabia so that their petrodollars secure with Venezuela's oil reserves, the largest in the world. So this is, for America, it's a long-term plan. It's probably 3 years or something, but to ignore China for a bit while we basically pillage Latin America even more extremely than we've been doing, which is hard to even believe, but you can see they're fully going after Venezuela.
Yeah, and if the Latin American countries are all like unified and they're like, we ain't gonna let this happen.
Well, half of them have already gone fascist. So
yeah, I mean, it's like there could be some insane war like on the border in America. I mean, like this, I'm living in a country right now where there's a border war between Thailand and Cambodia. So I feel like America might be getting into one, and like there's going to be like warships in the Caribbean. I mean, this is just
they
like
already are.
Yeah, but like, are any other? I don't know what the naval capabilities are of Venezuela or any of its allies in Latin America. Are any of them going to send warships out in the Caribbean? Because then it's going to get real messy, man.
I don't think their abilities are very large. The question is whether, I mean, we kind of know China wouldn't step up, but whether Russia or something would at least make threats where it's like, oh, we're going to get into a nuclear exchange over this. Also, there is some pretty damn good Venezuela analysis. I had Leo Flores on recently, an expert in Venezuela, and there's other analysis I've seen saying that America does not have the ability right now for a ground invasion. So what seems to be likely is what Trump's already doing, which is he's trying to cut off. He's basically laying siege to them. He's cutting off all in and out oil to Venezuela. Well, really out. And it's going to, like, Venezuela's already having a tough time economically because of our economic war on them. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And he's just trying to make it so unstable that it kind of collapses and Maduro falls out. But, there's also other problems with this plan, which is that the opposition in Venezuela is not popular. It also has almost no connection to the military. So, there's also signs that Maduro could fall and you still wouldn't end up with, what Trump wants, which is to take over the oil. And in fact, he actually said, let's see, I pulled it up here just the other day. He said they took it away, meaning the oil. They took the oil away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching, but they're not going to do that again. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out. We want it back. So does that sound like he's trying to stop the drugs?
God, I know it's so, when I saw those quotes when it's like, it's our oil in Venezuela.
Well, they put their country over it.
They shouldn't do that. That's what we've talked about this numerous times on the show. I know. Why are you putting your country over our oil? Don't do that. So it's really, and this is Trump, just what he's always done, which is said the quiet thing out loud that other presidents think but don't say out loud. He just says it out loud, like, that's our oil, let's just go take it. Yeah. And all of the people that voted for him for his like America first, and why is Joe Biden funding Ukraine, and he's just like doubling down on the war. Like every president doubles down on war and has at least since 9/11. And so this is just like, it's insane, but we've been trying, and this is what your segment, we should probably just go into it, is going to reveal, is like, I remember like after 9/11, it was like, oh no, we got to get bin Laden, we got to get Saddam. I was like, okay. And then he was like, and Venezuela. And I remember Bush saying that, going, what the fuck what does Venezuela got to do with anything?
And they're still doing this today, or they restarted it today. They kept saying like, I don't even know which one they were saying. I guess Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda's in Venezuela.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Iran's in Venezuela. Hezbollah's in Venezuela. It's like, what? Why would they? First of all, how would they get there? But then why would they be there? What are they doing? And how does that help them?
Well, how they got there is the CIA brought them there. That's how they got there.
Yeah.
And look, man, this thing that this awful attack in Bondi Beach, I'm like, oh God, something they're gonna stage a false flag like that in America. I'm so, and the fact that they're saying Hezbollah and Hamas is in Venezuela, I'm like, oh God. I've been saying this for a while that they're gonna.
Well, Venezuela already said they stopped a false flag attempt to bomb the U.S. embassy in Venezuela.
Oh yeah, and so what's going to happen is there's going to be Venezuelan Hamas guys who snuck across the border to blow up a mall in Dallas or something. I mean, be ready for that. And they're supposed to release the Epstein names Friday, so just like get ready for Friday to be kind of nutty. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be.
Do you have? I don't want to send us on a 40-minute tangent, but do you have any hope that that when they release the Epstein list, it's just not redacted to hell? Like,
I don't have any hope.
They've had a month to purge everything.
I mean, this is just, if they do, it'll be really redacted. It'll be. I mean, I would love to see justice. They keep stalling.
Landrew.
Yeah, like,
I feel like who's this smontled rump guy that seems to be prevalent?
This is going to be a giant black page, and they're going to go, "Yep, we released it. It's all out there," and it's just like, "Oh, okay, thanks, guys." So, if they do release an actual file with real names that could really seriously incriminate people, that's when the Venezuelan Hamas is going to blow up a fucking water park in Fort Worth, Texas on that day. Like that'll happen.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they will release names. It'll just be all Bill Clinton. It'll be 9,000 pages of Bill Clinton.
On every page, just him smiling like, yeah, we did it. All right. Yeah.
AI images of naked girls on his face or whatever.
Sure. Of course. Wearing that dress that was in the painting in Epstein's penthouse in New York. It's that. Yeah. That'll be that.
It's just going to be Bill Clinton and Noam Chomsky. That's it.
But yeah, it's amazing to watch how easily people are distracted in this country. Even the Trump supporters that were critical of him and have been critical of him will suddenly be like, yeah, we got to go to Venezuela and get our oil from Hamas or whatever. They'll just American.
True. Although it's amazing how poorly the propaganda has worked. The poll, I don't know, a few weeks ago showed that 17% of Americans think we should invade Venezuela. That means over half of all MAGA supporters are like, what the fuck? No, to stop drugs that aren't actually real. And plus, most MAGA supporters, as I'm not just saying this MAGA, it's most Americans, are like, where am I going to get my drugs now?
Yeah. And again, the biggest mistake they can make is they keep doing it. They keep just assuming their base is dumb. And by saying, oh, the Epstein file's empty, and that's why people aren't buying it. And so when you tell, it's the biggest mistake that Biden made. One of the biggest. He made so many big mistakes, but this is another huge mistake that Trump is making.
Hold on. His biggest mistake was that time he put ketchup on his tapioca pudding. That was pretty rough. I think we all knew that he wasn't really there at that point.
Yeah, and talking about corn pop, that was pretty big. But when you tell the American people the economy's fine and they're sitting there looking at their bills going, what? No, you're wrong. Everything is more expensive. That ain't going to work.
Graham, are you gonna believe your lying eyes or our Lord and Savior Trump? Come on.
Exactly. Because this is the one thing, and this is where if the Democrats weren't such warmongering psychopaths, just like the Republicans, they would never lose, because they would be like, here's pocketbook. They would pass policies that would make everybody's pocketbooks better. That's just very simple, because that's the one you can lie and say Hezbollah is running Venezuela. You can concoct all this crazy bullshit that some people are going to believe. But when you tell them the economy's great and they're like, no, it's not. It was $60 to fill up my car a year ago. Now it's 75. Like you can't lie with people looking at their paycheck and seeing it's going a shorter distance. You just can't do that.
It's pretty unpatriotic view, Graham. Pretty
I know.
Unpatriotic.
But yeah, America's doing great. I'm very happy. I can't wait to get back there.
All right, let me get in. We have chatted enough. Let me get into the
segment 1,
cooing of Venezuela, because it shows just how long and how much we've tried to bring down Venezuela's socialist revolution. So I'm going to read some from let's hold on. Let me find the accurate name. Center for Economic and Policy Research. Recent article they did. Let's see. The catalyzing event that would justify military action against Chavez. So this was Hugo Chavez, president, right? And that they would use to explain the quick emergence of a new unelected government headed by the Fede Camaras president, Pedro Carmona, was violence connected to a massive opposition march on the presidential palace, where marchers faced off against a wall of supporters of the elected government and presidential guard troops who fired tear gas at the opposition demonstrators. So, and this is a technique the U.S. and the CIA has used many times. You have a massive demonstration that may be legitimate. I mean, there were plenty of people that didn't like Chavez within Venezuela. So you have this massive demonstration, and then all of a sudden there's people getting killed, and it's immediately blamed on the government you want to coup, because turns out countries don't generally like when their government is murdering their own people. Snipers from the buildings fired on the crowd, mostly killing Chavistas, Chavez supporters, but Venezuela's opposition-controlled private media immediately blamed Chavez for the killings. So the snipers shoot pro-government demonstrators, kill them, and then the media, which was largely owned by the oligarchs, sounds similar to the United States, largely owned by the oligarchs, accused Chavez for the killings. And then the U.S. is quick to use our kind of global, it's not a monopoly, but our global media presence, which is far greater than any other country, to just repeat any of the pro-coup bullshit. So the moment the media in Venezuela says, oh, it was Chavez that killed the people, then you got CNN saying Chavez murders own citizens immediately.
Yeah. Yes.
And where do they get those marching orders? How does CNN know that it's time to jump in and say Chavez murdered people?
It's weird. It almost feels like it's coming from like the State Department or something like that. I don't know.
It almost seems like they have some sort of connection to the CIA. I don't know. Anderson Cooper was a CIA intern. I don't know what it could be, but Anderson Cooper was a CIA intern. But I don't know how they know people at the CIA or what goes on.
I don't know. Yeah. It's weird. Anderson Cooper's also family is like the Vanderbilts or something like that. Like he comes from
you are correct, sir. It is the Vanderbilts.
Yeah.
But there was no nepotism there. He just worked his way up from the lowly CIA position to CNN.
And I'm sure becoming a CIA intern, I'm sure there was no strings pulled by his wealthy family to make that happen.
Make that happen either. I did see one interview. He was, years ago, he was asked about like, you an intern of the CIA? And he's like, yeah, people love to point to that. All I did was get coffee for people. So yeah, I had a real influence there. And I'm sure that you haven't kept any connections at the CIA, right? It's just he just got coffee and then they never spoke again.
And then he became like one of the highest paid news anchors on a massive network. I mean, that's all. That's just, there's no connection to that. That's just, yeah. I did a lot of intern work, and weird, I didn't suddenly get an 8-figure job spewing State Department propaganda. It's weird. I never got that. Huh.
I don't know, man. You didn't work hard enough.
No, exactly right. It's just like we talked about. My dad could have been, the CIA tried to flip him, and he said no. And so I wish my old man would have said yes. I would have a gig. I'd have my own show on CNN or something like that.
Dude, you did it all wrong.
I know.
You did it all wrong. Man, if my dad had just educated me right, I could have gone into the military, gone to Yale, where like the stadium's still named after Walter Camp or whatever the fuck. He was in Skull and Bones, and I could have been in Skull and Bones. I could be like Secretary of State right now.
Oh, dude, you could have been in Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
That'd be so great. I would be doing this podcast with somebody else and we'd be talking about you.
Be like, fucking Lee Camp is jacking off in your baby skull right now.
He owns a napalm factory that is just going to start fucking.
Okay. So they use this violence to, as a key part of the pretext for a coup. And the CIA, this article doesn't get into it much, but actually it's going to say something in a moment, but the CIA, there's a CIA cutout we've talked about many times called NED, National Endowment for Democracy. They, at one point, the head of the NED said, basically, we do what the CIA used to do, like stuff they don't do anymore. NED funds this organization called International Republic Institute, IRI, which was one of the biggest kind of funders and propagators of the pro-coup demonstrations and groups. So they'd been working for at least, a few years on kind of setting this up for this moment. So the Chavista violence, supposed Chavista violence, became a key part of the pretext for the coup. And the narrative, with the military beginning to turn on him a little bit, Chavez had decided to resign and flee. So this is what they told the world. There was a coup, there were protests. Chavez decided to resign and flee. What actually happened is Chavez was taken prisoner with the help by some military that had turned on him, but with the help of the CIA. He was held on military bases in Venezuela, and he says he was nearly executed.
And I'm sure the CIA, I'm sure they've just like that organically happened, that some of his own military turned on. I'm sure they weren't bought off or promised whatever else.
No. No, the U.S. wouldn't do. Look, they would draw the line there. The maximum they would do is just say, hey, I think you should coup this Chavez guy. Could you give me like $20? No. We would never pay for that. That's wrong. That's immoral. It's unethical. And
the balls on the CIA to come up with the National Endowment for Democracy. Like, anybody reads that, they're going to go, oh, it's an endowment. So it's some sort of thing that's helping. It's probably, it's probably giving, books on giving the copies of the Constitution to young, poor socialists in Venezuela or whatever they're.
Yeah. They give a bunch of books to blind kids in Africa. And, there's not a lot of thought put into it. They can't read because they're blind, but they just give them a bunch of books and they airdrop them. So a lot of them get hit with them. It's pretty rough, but it looks good on paper.
Just throwing books out of a plane at poor kids.
Whatever we got to do to pretend we're good. Yeah, here, they're all these blind Africans getting pelted with books. It's terrible.
Read up, you sons of bitches. It's like, we're blind. Oh, that's America helping.
What's it called? Rudolph the Big Red Dog. What's his name? It's just clocking them in the back of the head.
Rudolph the Big Red Dog? What
What's
is
the
that
name?
from?
Oh my God. What's his name? Clifford.
Rudolph the,
Clifford the Big Red
who?
Dog. Clifford the
Clifford?
Big Red Dog. Graham. Jesus.
Well, you're saying Rudolph and you're
How do
like, you're
you not
mixing
know
up.
Clifford the How do you not know Clifford the Big Red Dog?
I don't know Clifford. Was that
All right.
some?
All right. Well, I'm gonna spoiler alert. It's about a big red dog.
That throws books at blind kids? What the hell were you reading as a child, Lee? This is insane.
So meanwhile, the hastily assembled coup regime so basically they kidnap Chavez, and within like 30 seconds they just announce yeah, there's a new president and the whole government's gone, and like they're trying to get it done so quickly because they have this bad feeling it's not going to last. So they abolish Venezuela's government, the Supreme Court, and the Constitution. they just like sign a piece of paper that's like, yeah, it's all gone. Nothing here. The coup was immediately greeted with applause in the U.S. The U.S. media ran around like, oh, I would love to. I don't know if it's easy or hard to find because it only lasted. We're gonna get to this. It only lasted like a day and a half. So I would love to see the CNN coverage during that day where they're like, Chavez is gone, new government in Venezuela.
Yeah.
The coup was greeted with applause. The IRI, International Republic Institute, funded by the NED, openly celebrated. And the New York Times praised Chavez's removal in an editorial. They did all this in one day. The IMF quickly offered assistance to the new administration.
Oh, thank God the IMF was there. Gee.
In prepared remarks that just hours after the coup had transpired, suggesting that the fund's leaders may have had some sort of foreknowledge. They seemed really prepared to put out these statements.
It's weird. The New York Times just had a folder of like just this.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's put this out there.
You know, like when I was working at RT, apparently every news station does this in order to like be ready for famous people that are kind of likely to die. When they have extra time, they actually write their obituaries like when they're not dying. So they're like, it's like someone's 93 and they're like, probably gonna kick it soon. So they go ahead and write these obituaries, and I get the feeling they did the same thing for the Coup'ing of Venezuela. They were like, just on a lazy Sunday, write up how Venezuela's been couped.
Give me 500 words on a Venezuelan coup. Oh, is there a coup happening? Nah, there's gonna be, but just get that ready. Get that ready.
There's a light scent of coup in the air,
We're definitely downwind of a coup breeze.
Yeah. Several members of the U.S. Congress later asked the IMF to explain how they seemed so prepared, but never received more than a dismissive response.
Oh, really? The IMF didn't step up and give a straight answer. Yeah, it's weird.
No. On the ground in Venezuela, some opposition leaders, some of whom are still prominent today, such as Leopoldo Lopez, participated in the coup, and Marina Maria Kachina Marina. No.
Marina the Big Red Dog?
Marina the Big Red Dog, yes. Machado's her last name, but there it is. Maria Corina Machado.
Okay.
I was just conflating, but Kanina Manina Manada. I was just conflating it all into something offensive. But it's okay. She's offensive, so it's okay. Manina Batata Patata.
Oh, God. Oh, fantastic, Lee Camp. This is fantastic.
But she was actually involved in it as well. A young and bright-eyed Maria Corina Machado, who has just won the Nobel Peace Prize for asking that America bomb her country.
It's the Nobel Peace Prize is kind of taken a turn ever since they gave it to Obama after he dropped more bombs than Bush. You know what I mean? It feels like it's kind of losing its meaning a little bit.
Maria Corina Banana Republic was part of this coup. And so
you sound like some drunk redneck at a Mexican bar on Cinco de Mayo going, hey man, let's get another one of them goddamn margar tortilla hats or margar enchiladitos or whatever, chalupalitos or whatever, man.
The best thing when that's happening is just let it fizzle out. Because Maria, I just want another one of the margarita, pachata.
Can you give us another bowl of them margaritos or whatever?
Hand me the Totifa chips, please. You just let it fizzle. Just don't interrupt. Just let it fizzle. So, but they were involved. Some of them prominent today were involved in the coup. They helped persecute and detain officials from the elected government. But what Carmona, Lopez, and other coup supporters didn't count on was the reaction of the Venezuelan people. Tens of thousands mobilized, coming down from the barrios that line the hillsides around Caracas, and marched on the presidential palace. Chavez retained supporters in the military as well who worked to free him, because he had first organized his revolutionary movement from the military. He was a military general. The combination of popular pressure and military support for the elected government, meaning Chavez, along with the revelation that Chavez never had, contrary to what the media was saying, resigned, led to the coup being overturned in less than 48 hours. So this really is an example of like the people standing up. And despite the fact Chavez prior to the coup attempt was not all that popular, around 35% support in Venezuela, but even an unpopular president, the Venezuelan people understood that, yeah, but we don't want our fucking country cooed by outside infiltrators and shit. Like, yeah. So even with low support, they were like, yeah, but he's our fucking president.
Yeah, we voted for this guy. And why is the United States telling us who our president should be?
Yeah, yeah. So the coup mongers quickly began to backpedal. Some who had signed the infamous Carmona decree abolishing the democratic government would deny they had signed it and would express regret because they didn't want to be executed probably. International supporters of the overthrow of the elected government, including the New York Times, were forced to walk back their statements and admit they had betrayed principles of governance. Yeah, the New York Times, I'm sure, was, really gave a shit.
Yeah, they care.
Following his return, Chavez was emboldened and, after, and then even more so after he survived the 2002-2003 oil lockout, which I'm sure had U.S. fingerprints all over that as well. So this actually gave strength to the Chavista movement. And, it is a great example of a U.S. coup being overturned, not just stopped. Venezuela has stopped other U.S. coup attempts. They've arrested CIA guys in Venezuela with guns. They've most recently, we already mentioned, they've stopped a attempted false flag where there was going to be a bomb left at the U.S. embassy, and then the U.S. was going to claim Venezuela did it. They also stopped, of course, the Bay of Piglets coup attempt in the last Trump administration, when the 60 idiots tried to invade Venezuela and were stopped by fishermen. Like
the 60 idiots, that was the name of the operation. 60 idiots.
60 idiots. And so they've stopped many, but this is an example of a coup actually happening. I mean, Chavez was kidnapped and the people stood up and undid it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens now. It'll be interesting to see if like Mexico, which is the biggest, strongest country in the region, or Brazil, or these other countries, like Brazil is part of BRICS. Venezuela is sort of near Brazil or Mexico. I don't know what these Gulf Latin American countries are. They going to be like, you know what? We're done with this crap. But I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, well, and with Brazil, they already the preferred technique for the U.S. nowadays for cooing is lawfare coups. They advise the corrupt judiciary to bring charges against a socialist or leftist leader, even moderately leftist like Imran Khan. I mean, he's not leftist at all, honestly. He was just more pro Russia than he was pro the U.S. and and then they bring these charges, and in a lot of these countries, if you have charges like that on you, you can't even run for president. So it just stops them from being able to run. With
Right.
Imran Khan, they got him locked up. He's in prison right now. With Lula in Brazil, they had him locked up, and the lawfare
Yeah.
coup succeeded initially to put a far right lunatic in power in Brazil, one of the key countries of BRICS. But it was undone thanks to some leaked evidence of the corruption of the courts, and now Lula's back in power. So I'm sure they're working to do it again in Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah. This will be interesting how this plays out, man. I mean, I hope there isn't like a full on hot war in Latin America, but Trump is really wanting it. He's really pushing for it hard. So,
Well, like I said, they need a replacement for Saudi Arabia. Without it, they have no
yeah,
they have no petrodollar.
none. All right. Well, here's let's get into segment number 2. One of the more disappointing ones. I've heard rumblings about this. I'm a Buddhist. I've heard the Dalai Lama speak. I've read his books, and I'd heard rumblings about this, and I was like, well, it doesn't surprise me because that is exactly what the United States would do, is try to get him or Tibet, because they were in a battle with communist China and America just stops coming. Now, I just want to preface this by saying, I mean, I've in spending a lot of time in Asia, I'm here to tell you that China is the bully of the region. Like in these other Asian countries, they're like, yeah, China has, they bombed this island in the Gulf of Tonkin in 2013. The Vietnamese people were furious. The Vietnamese people do not like China at all. They were under Chinese rule for almost 1,000 years. And so I guess my view, and I'm sure yours is similar, is just, I just can't listen to Americans and American politicians get all bent out of shape about China when we're doing all this awful crap too. And the shit we're doing is way worse, in my opinion.
Oh my God, 1,000 times worse. It's like the U.S. killed 4.5 to 6 million in just the global war on terror in 20 years, and China's done nothing like that. So yeah, China is definitely the most powerful in the region, although in certain ways they're now the most powerful in the world. But they don't do it militarily almost at all.
No,
it's
rarely.
almost all done economically and other pressure techniques, which is a big difference than having 800 military bases, 800, 900 military bases around the world, while China has a grand total of 1 military base outside of China.
Yeah, 1. So yeah, and there's a lot of like this Cambodian-Thailand border war. I mean, Cambodia, there's gets a lot of funding from China. Obviously, Thailand is a U.S. I hope this doesn't escalate into a proxy war, because America would love to get into a proxy war with China. But we do need to talk about what the Dalai Lama, his involvement with the CIA. So
yeah, well, if I just one last little piece of background is, yes, whenever it was in the 1950s, China went into Tibet, and they now call it Xizang, but whatever. And here's the thing: is I don't actually think nation states should be a thing. So I don't actually think that one country should own what was another country, etc. I don't actually think these borders are made up by idiots, and now we're told that the human being on the other side is, oh, well, he's on the other side of that there river, so he's a fucking piece of shit. Like, it actually is used just to divide us. So, like, that's my view of it. But I will also add in here that prior to when the Chinese Communist Party goes into Tibet in the 1950s, it is a feudal system in which 95% of the people are really on the cusp of slaves. They're essentially slaves. They cannot survive without the 5% giving them pennies, like a pittance. There's countless examples of them being literally whipped and tortured if they didn't work hard enough. They start working at age like 3. And this went for the Buddhist monk system as well. They were part of the feudal lord system. And so you have 5% just owning essentially and keeping the 95% in gut-wrenching poverty. Then China comes in, the Chinese army comes in and just gives all the land to the serfs. And so, like, you'd be hard-pressed to view that and be like, no, it should go back to how it was. And almost everyone who's like, yeah, it should go back to how it is part of that 5% oligarchy, as was the Dalai Lama at that time. So, yeah.
That's always the case everywhere. Again, not like Chavez, Maduro. Chavez came in and said, "Hey, wealthy families, no more," and they didn't like that. I mean, look in
Cuba.
I mean, that happened in Vietnam after the Vietnamese won the war. The wealthy Vietnamese were like, had to give a lot of their land away, and they were like pissed off about it, which I can understand that. If I owned a bunch of land and the government came in and said, you can't own it.
If I owned a bunch of people and they took them away, that's really upsetting. Those are my people I owned. That's fucking, like, what am I supposed to do now? So someone says my mic is not working. Can other people chime in on whether that's true?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep going. Can others in the chat, let me know if you can hear me, but we'll keep going.
Yeah. So definitely want to, because again, under Tibetan Buddhism, the Dalai Lama is the 14th reincarnation of Buddha himself. So he's born into this, and I like a lot.
And this Dalai Lama became Dalai Lama in like 1950.
Yes.
So
yes,
long
as a
time
child.
Ago. Yeah, child.
Yeah. Yeah, but initially the Dalai Lama claims that he didn't know much about it. It was one of his brothers that put this in there. But there was the CIA Tibetan program, was an anti-communist covert operation spanning almost 20 years. It consisted of political action, propaganda, paramilitary, and intelligence operations facilitated by arrangements made with the brothers of the 14th Dalai Lama, who himself was allegedly not aware of them. The stated goal of the program was to keep the political concept of an autonomous Tibet alive within Tibet and among several foreign nations. The program was administered by the CIA and unofficially operated in coordination with domestic agencies such as the Department of State and the Department of Defense. So it ended it was around for 20 years. It ended under basically President Nixon when he visited China to build relations in 1972. So let's go into the operations. Saint Circus was the cover name for the training of Tibetan guerrillas on the island of Saipan and Camp Hale in Colorado. The recruits underwent rigorous military training, including weapons handling, guerrilla tactics, communication skills, and survival techniques. The goal was to equip them with the necessary skills to conduct resistance operations against Chinese forces in Tibet. Training in mountain warfare was particularly emphasized given the rugged terrain of the Tibetan plateau. St. Barnum was the name for the airlifting of CIA agents, military supplies, and support equipment into Tibet. These supplies were often airdropped into remote areas of Tibet or delivered secretly through neighboring countries like India and Nepal. Airlifts were carried out using specially modified aircraft, and covert insertion techniques were employed to avoid detection by Chinese authorities. Then there was St. Bailey, a cover name for a classified propaganda campaign. This operation focused on conducting propaganda campaigns to undermine Chinese influence in Tibet and increase support for Tibetan independence or autonomy. This involved disseminating pro-Tibetan messages throughout various channels, including radio broadcasts, leaflets, and other forms of media. The aim was to rally international support for the Tibetan cause and raise awareness about human rights abuses and cultural repression in Tibet under Chinese rule.
Which is hilarious because the whole humanitarian abuses in Tibet. The life expectancy before China came in, so under the feudal days, was 35. The life expectancy now is over 70. So they doubled everyone's life, and the population, I think, has doubled. The literacy rate is like equivalent to the United States or better than the United States. Child mortality rate has been cut severely so that it's better than a lot of American states. It's just like the quality of life and the ability to survive has been greatly increased.
And it's also, I mean, it's laughable that the CIA gives a shit about human rights violations. Like, they don't care at all. This is just a political move. Like, and so even if there were human rights violations, they didn't care. And like you say, all those statistics, it's like, it's like, oh man, the United States wouldn't give a shit what Chavez or Maduro was doing if they had no oil in Venezuela. They wouldn't care at all. So Tibet, is just a strategic location
or if they did everything exactly the same, but they let the U.S. rape the resources, then
exactly. Yeah, if Chavez was like, they'd be like, you can be as socialist as you want as long as Exxon and Standard Oil get to set up shop down there. We don't care what you do. And so that's the thing with this. And so, you know, the Dalai Lama, the issue that I have is, if you're the leader of Tibetan Buddhism, if you're a true Buddhist, you should not be having paramilitary organizations training. Like, your true Buddhists are non-violent. They're vegetarians. They like Tibetan monks. And there's many times, like in Southern Buddhism here in Thailand, I'm learning, like, the Thailand Buddhist monks aren't vegetarians. Whereas Northern Buddhists typically are vegetarians. So,
well, and also, the more U.S. propaganda is that you're not allowed to be Buddhist in Tibet anymore, which is hilarious. Like, you go to Tibet, I've been to Tibet, like, it's Buddhism everywhere. And I went to Buddhism universities. I went to Buddhist temples. I met and chatted with Buddhist nuns and monks. I played 5-on-5 basketball with Buddhist monks. Literally, it was 9 Buddhist monks and me. And I would look, if they were here, I would fucking destroy them. Okay, they're all 5'4". They're wearing robes and yak hair, flip flops. But you take me up to 15,000 feet, I can't fucking breathe. Okay, I'm doubled over, gasping for air, praying to a god I don't believe in. Like, it's not fair. They were the Harlem Globetrotters. I was the Generals. It was a mess.
Well, that's part of it too. Like, the first time I went to China, I was told the communists wiped out all of the Buddhists, and I was like, "There's Buddhist temples everywhere, active temples." Like, I went in them and I saw Buddhist monks meditating, and I was like, "Oh!" And they're like selling Buddhist, like, I bought Buddhist, like, little statues and and they were selling all these kinds of, like, Buddhist, like
Yeah.
these are prayer beads. The whole purpose of this is you say this and you say a mantra as you're meditating. They sell this all over China. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
And I mean,
and it's not even like they allowed them back recently. We went to a Buddhist, is it called a temple? Buddhist temple that it was founded in 700.
yes,
It's like way older than the United States.
it's older than the Communist Party of China. I mean, like
Yeah.
they haven't wiped out their history in any way since that I've seen. And so again, you want to be critical of China being the bully of the region. Okay, fine. But again, the data is the data. Look at how many people they've pulled out of poverty, that China has pulled out of poverty. They have.
Well,
that's a fact.
I mean, Graham, you're overstating. It's only 850 million.
I know.
Come on. It's only like 2.5 United States worth of people that they pulled out of extreme poverty.
And you could make the argument that because they're enjoying so much wealth, there's billionaires popping up, and their economy is having a hard time right now, and they could go back to what the dynasty era was, which is a handful of ruling elites owned all of everything, and the majority of Chinese citizens were poor. That could happen again if they allow the sort of Chinese oligarchs to take over.
Yeah,
but
the gravity of capitalism is that the rich will always become the most powerful if you're not really careful.
You're not really careful. So this whole thing with the Dalai Lama, I mean, it
Well, hold on. You mentioned just one other thing. Let's see. I'll put it on the screen. One other thing. You mentioned some of them are vegetarian and some are not. Where does this fall in that? Dalai Lama, he's asked children to suck his tongue.
Yeah, this is the Dalai Lama really got. He's really I saw that video like a year or two ago, and I was like, oh, that was really fucking.
Is that vegetarian or no?
No, I think that's a creepy monk that hasn't had sex in 90 years. I think that's what that is.
He literally, there's loads of videos of him asking children to kiss him on the lips, but there's a couple of him asking them to suck his tongue.
That's just like, that's horrifying. And that's just like awful. I saw him speak at UCLA like 20 some years ago, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And now I'm reading this article going, oh, the CIA probably funded that. Like I was probably bought a ticket to a thing that the CIA helped put together, because it's one thing to spread Buddhism. It's another thing for the CIA to do it, to say, oh, Buddhism is against the China, and anti-communist, anti-Chinese sentiment. And so this is really, and for the Dalai Lama to say, I didn't know anything about it, potentially maybe because he became the Dalai Lama at such a young age that maybe he was like 14, 15, 16 years old and they were shielding him from this. Could be that his older brothers did that, but eventually he knew. And again, if the CIA is involved, I have huge issues with it and huge question marks.
Some questions.
Yeah. And so, like a lot of Americans or Westerners, I personally found Buddhism as a second religion. But it's funny, being in Thailand, I know some Thai people who are like, oh, Buddhism, man, they try to force it down my throat. And I saw some news, there's some corrupt Buddhist temples here that got busted with money and drugs. And
you're saying there's some corrupt people inside a religion. I don't understand. I don't get it, Graham. Could you, let's back up. How could that be?
As someone who's raised Catholic, I was as shocked as you about a corruption inside of a religion.
It's like water. There's fire inside of water. It doesn't. It can't happen. There's no corruption in religion.
Yeah, it's like this like everything. The Buddhist practices, I think, are pretty cool, and they're enlightened, they're pretty mellow, and they're not judgmental, and they're not trying to invade anybody, or do anything like that. But again, human beings are human beings, and they're going to be corrupt, and they're going to cause problems. And then the CIA is the most corrupt organization that's ever existed on planet Earth. And and now the Dalai Lama has been a creep for the last couple of years. And so now it's like,
Oh, yes. Someone's saying the Dalai Lama's in the Epstein files. I don't know if that's true, but he was a big supporter of that. What was that sex cult called?
NVIDIA.
Yeah, I want to say Nvidia, but that's the AI company. But what was it?
Whatever. Tomato, tomato. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Well, it was something with N. Started with an N.
Yeah.
But
It was, and some, yeah. Yeah. So it, and again,
I'm
that's,
not saying Nvidia is not a sex cult. NXIVM, however they pronounce it.
Yeah, Nexus or Nex. Yeah. I did videos on them.
Nexivum.
Nexum's whatever, creep fuck. Yeah, and they had a lot of ties to Hollywood. And
Collaborating
Hollywood
with the Dalai Lama since 2009.
doesn't surprise me, because if you look at the CIA's MO, and so they got the Dalai Lama, and they would flip him like any other asset and use him for, because, you know, he was helping push anti-China sentiment. And so, like, the way CIA operates is they flip people, and if they as John Kiriakou told me on my show in 2019, that the CIA doesn't like recruit pedophiles, but if they find out somebody is one, then they'll help them get kids or whatever. And so,
oh God,
it's horrifying. So, like, if he worked for the CIA, it's not like the CIA is going to go lighter on him because he's the spiritual leader of Tibet. The CIA is going to do what the CIA does.
Yeah.
And now these ties and these videos and this creepy shit he's saying to kids and all this stuff is like, it's pretty awful, and it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty disheartening. So,
well, you just listen to the good Buddhists and not the creepy ones.
Listen to the good Buddhists. I went to a Buddhist temple down in Koh Lanta, this island. They taught, it was free meditation. The guy gave me great stuff about how to clear my mind and do moving meditations.
Did you say free meditation? Is there expensive meditation? Isn't meditation always free? Can someone charge you to meditate?
Well, there's some asshole in Wall Street trying to figure that out right now. Or Silicon Valley, there's some fucking asshole doing a meditation app.
Now that I'm saying it, I actually know for a fact there are meditation apps that you can buy. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I should say it was a free meditation class. You could just go to this temple and they would give a class on meditation.
I'm just picturing a guy, every time you close your eyes, he's like, I have 50 cents. And you're like, well, I'm just closing my, I know you're I patented that.
You sounded like you were chanting. No, I was just talking to myself. That's a chant. That's a chant.
I could tell you cleared your thoughts. That's 50 cents now.
So to summarize, that was the Dalai Lama. While the Dalai Lama claims to be hesitant to align with the anti-communist Chinese government in Taiwan, his brother, who has a lengthy history of controversy and as anti-communist governments such as Kai-shek, they got in contact with in Taiwan and a lot. The United States planned to issue asylum to the Dalai Lama and his supporters. Some resistance fighters took their lives when captured by the Chinese to avoid torture. Despite their efforts, Tibetan resistance fighters ultimately faced the reality that their struggle was unlikely to succeed in achieving full independence from China.
Is this Wikipedia?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Real good at, like, we're just throwing. They were probably tortured.
Yeah. Probably.
For a minute, I was like, let me just get the broad strokes of the Venezuelan coup in 2002 from Wikipedia. But it was like it was so, there was no reference to the U.S. being involved, even though we actually have documents now. But also, it was like, Chavez was so hated and the people wanted to bring him down. And I was like, I don't think this is what happened.
Yeah, I know. That's we're getting the Wikipedia version of people were tortured and killed and all this stuff. And it's like, maybe they just were like, okay, now our lives are better. So, yep, that's the Dalai Lama's involved with the CIA, and now we know he's in the Nexum cult, and
All right.
Yep, that's
well done. And I'd say the moral of this show is, kids, don't suck the Dalai Lama's tongue.
Don't, Jesus Christ.
Don't do it.
Oh God. Don't look up to anybody. Don't.
Yeah, don't look up to that guy.
Don't look up to that guy.
We are going to do an extra segment over at patreon.com/government secrets. And it's the end of the year. If you're looking for a place to help out, give, support, and the moment you become a member, you unlock 90 extra episodes, 90 evergreen extra episodes. So,
it's the holiday season. It's the only place you can get Government Secrets merchandise is at the Patreon. So the more folks join the Patreon, you get all this bonus content, and you're helping support our show because we've been doing this for a while.
In terms of my stuff, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. That's youtube.com/moment of clarity. And I just put up 2 columns this week at reallycamp.substack.com. One on the U.S. involvement in the largest humanitarian crisis in the world, which is in Sudan. Mm-hmm. And the other one was on debunking New York Times pro-war dumpster fire garbage shit. Crap.
That's cool. Folks, go to GrahamElwood.com. I have a GoFundMe. I am doing a late night talk show here in Thailand. We're going to start doing it in March. I already have some investors involved, but I need your help to get the pilot off the ground. So it's a kind of show, East meets West. It's a kind of show Lee can be on, and also Thai, yes, and Asian performers. It's going to be really awesome. So go to GrahamElwood.com and you can donate to my GoFundMe. Even $5-10 to the GoFundMe helps. We're already about almost 20% there, which is great. And also then my Christmas album, Socialist Christmas with Graham Elwood. You can also get that at GrahamElwood.com. So just go to my website.
O'Doyle in the chat would like me to mention Rad Indie Media. If you guys want media, you can check every day, radindiemedia.com, INDIE. And that was created by me and Eleanor Goldfield. It's completely free. We don't make any money from it. It's just a bunch of awesome content that you can check out at Rad Indie Media. Sweet.
All right, go over to patreon.com/government secrets. This has been Government Secrets episode 193 with We've been cooing in Venezuela forever, and the Dalai Lama is a disappointment.
All right, see you in a minute.
All right, later.